Hare Krishna devotees, welcome all of you for this Throwback Thursday program. Our get together of Thursdays and from our glorification of Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna Jaspal Prabhu. Today we are very fortunate to actually have the association of one of our very dear senior godbrother, His Grace Radhabhava Gaura Prabhu. And you won't believe my fortune. I was actually yesterday just talking to Radharaman Prabhu that can you please suggest whom I should reach out to? And it's like, he said, why don't you, have you tried Radhabhava Gaura Prabhu? And I was like, no, I didn't think that I could reach out and he will agree to me. I just sent a WhatsApp message. And Prabhu was just like carrying the mood of Guru Maharaj. He immediately said, yes, okay. And I had to actually pinch myself that is it correct that he agreed in the first instance? And not only that, in 2 minutes, Prabhu was calling me to check if it was same Anadi Jagannath, he remembers. Prabhu remembered me from the time we had seen each other. It's like so personal. And like I had sent out a small note, Prabhu has been serving Iskcon for close to more than 3 decades now. He's been serving for the last 20 years in Middle East, currently leading the Shyamadesh Yatra. Prabhu has taken the topic of Pastimes of GuruMaharaja over the years, rather over the decades we can think of. We'll hear that today. So on behalf of Jayapataka Iskcon Seshadripuram, we welcome you, Prabhu. Maybe all the devotees can unmute yourself and please let us chant one time Hare Krishna and express our gratitude for Prabhu. Let's do it. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhu, as you would like to take it forward, and if possible, a last 5-10 minutes for some question answers, that will be nice.
Sure.
Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you, Anadi Jagannath Prabhu. It is nice to see you again after a long time. I think, as I told you, I met in Mayapur and then we had a long gap. I did visit once or twice to the temple, but unfortunately, we could not meet. So it's a pleasure to be here to glorify Guru Maharaj. It's always a great opportunity I never like to miss because we are all connected to him and, you know, our electricity charge is from him. So why should I miss it? So, Om Vishmadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Dinamane Namacharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradayane Gaura Katha Damadaya Nagargaramakkarane Nama Om Vishmadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachardi Nirvishesha Srimati Pastardi. Am I audible or is it Anadi Prabhu?
Prabhu, loud and clear, Prabhu. Loud and clear, Prabhu.
Okay. So it's a wonderful topic to be connected and to remember our spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. As we all know, Guru Maharaj has been in his past life connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but though this is not much revealed and, you know, spoken about, but many years back, Srila Prabhupada shared this with the father of Srinathji Prabhu, who was one of the Rajya Sabha members, who had taken initiative to get Guru Maharaj the Indian citizenship during the rule of the first time when Vajpayee was also the foreign minister, I think during the Janata Party rule, you know, first time after the emergency. So when Guru Maharaj gave up his US citizenship for Indian citizenship, normally people flock to US to get that citizenship, while Guru Maharaj just gave it away for the pleasure of his spiritual master, his Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So remembering some of the topics when Guru Maharaj I used to hear, that I remember once very clearly, that sometimes the spiritual master will chide you indirectly to prove to the others how this should be done. So once Guru Maharaj was in the early days in Mayapur, and it was just coming up days, and we can imagine it was just full of fields, and the Lotus building had just come up, and there was, you know, as you enter on the left hand side, you have this Kirtan place where Kutir. That was the first you can say, landscape place of Mayapur where Srila Prabhupada used to stay. And in those days, the toilet was not really kept in good shape, and some of the devotees would maybe show lax behavior. So Srila Prabhupada, once when he came, he found it very pertainingly unclean, and it was not actually Guru Maharaj's seva, but he saw Guru Maharaj nearby, and he started firing Guru Maharaj. Very harshly, and shouted at him. So Guru Maharaj said that I was really taken aback, but it was nothing concerned to me. But then I realized that he was actually giving me a tremendous amount of mercy. So Guru Maharaj mentions this, in one of his reminiscences of his spiritual master, of course. So we also should understand that sometimes we may come across situations where Guru Maharaj may not even talk to you, or he may just ignore you. It is just actually mercy. You can take it to learn something and introspect. And the other incident when Srila Prabhupada was in Mayapur, and the building of Lotus Building, which is one of the first buildings to come up there, had just got completed. They did not have a water connection properly. And Guru Maharaj said that Srila Prabhupada went for his morning chores inside the toilet. And each day they would clean the pot, etc. after Srila Prabhupada goes and comes out, because there was no flushed water. But one day suddenly, as he was very nearby and standing, he heard Srila Prabhupada calling him, Jayapataka, Jayapataka, come here. So Guru Maharaj said, I rushed into where Srila Prabhupada was there in the toilet, and he had kept the door ajar. And inside there was a snake, right inside where Srila Prabhupada was standing, very near to him. And Srila Prabhupada was very calm and compassionate, and he didn't even get panicky. He told Guru Maharaj that remove this snake and look for another guy also. He'll never goes alone. There'll be all two partners. So he didn't kill it actually. So Guru Maharaj removed the snake and threw it away, far away, and looked for the other one. I think they found it also. So this is one other memory of Srila Prabhupada with Guru Maharaj to share. How the spiritual master sometimes, shows you by example how you have to be compassionate even to be the most fallen soul. A snake is considered to be very dangerous and, sometimes not palatable for us. But here Srila Prabhupada showed compassion. So Guru Maharaj used to enlighten on that. And of course, the third example he also gave was when Srila Prabhupada once looked out of the window and he called Guru Maharaj. And also, I think, one more sannyasi at the time, I forgot his name. And Srila Prabhupada was crying actually, looking down. And he saw some of those children and some local villages. They were actually relishing on the plates that were thrown into the dustbin. And he was literally crying, seeing the plight of these children. The dogs also were looking at those plates. So he immediately gave an instruction that within 10 miles of this place, nobody should starve and prasadam should start. So Guru Maharaj was one of the initial pioneers to start the Food for Life program of Iskcon under the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, which is now worldwide. At different places you will hear now that people are getting benefited. Even in this Ukraine war between Russia and Ukraine that is happening, so many thousands are getting benefited by Iskcon programs. And of course, these are small reminiscences of Srila Prabhupada, which Guru Maharaj always mentions, when he speaks, which I just remembered and I wanted to connect. So I was very fortunate to have his mercy from the year 83. And in Mumbai, when we came first time, I was part of the Jew congregation. And we had gone to pick him up actually in a rickshaw that used to be there in Jew. So the green color rickshaw, I still remember we were hopping into it quite strong, and it was not so spacious for him. He had a bag, and one of my other devotee from the temple also had come to join up to pick him up, and we came down and he had darshan. So like that, a few times we used to meet. But I had a very long stretch of, I can say, seva with him. In 1986, we had the first Congress that's called the gathering of all the Nobel laureates, from the worldwide. It was organized by the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and it was held from in the month of January 1986. But before that, Guru Maharaj had come once or twice, and he was supposed to be the chief guest, welcoming the whole congregation who were going to be assembled. There were nearly 200 top physicists, chemists, biologists, all the Nobel laureates. You can imagine the brains of the world were going to be there. And he was supposed to give an opening speech to them. And it was quite a big event that was going to take place. And you couldn't just, come and speak en Prado. So GuruMaharaja had prepared himself. It was called the World Congress for Synthesis of Science and Religion. It took place in 1986, and then the next one was in 97 in Calcutta. So at that time, no Google, we didn't have any approach to have any computers. There was only one computer in the whole of Iskcon at the time in Jew, which was operated by His Grace Rasaraj Prabhuji. And if you all remember, the old timers will know that to operate a computer in those days was not easy. You had to put in so many figures, it would take so much time to get the way to come back. And it was very slow also. And you didn't have any information as such, because what you had fed in only would come out. Not like now. So the only way for Guru Maharaj to get some info was to go to the libraries. And I had a membership of the American Library, the British Library, and the Asiatic Library. So 2 or 3 times, I was a person along with one of the devotees who went with Guru Maharaj to browse through all the books. So Guru Maharaj would go inside, he would have some notes already prepared, he would look for books, and he would just sit here for some time and quickly make some notes. All those top level, in quantum mechanics and things like that, which are on the very latest topics. Particle acceleration. I had no clue. What Guru Maharaj wanted to see, but he would pinpointly take these books out, and I would bring him back to Jew Temple. And then you would be surprised that in 1986, when the inauguration took place, Guru Maharaj spoke welcoming these devotees. And I'm not devotees actually; they were well-wishers, the Nobel laureates and all the other people who had come from worldwide, Americans, British, English, so many of them. And he spoke so perfectly, as if they were part of their team, and in such language, technical jargon, that you would be like, and I wouldn't be able to explain to you that it was so. Those guys were really watching us, like, have we missed this guy? Who's speaking? Like, is he one of us? Like, they couldn't believe that a sannyasi could speak so fluently in such topics. And during the course of the speech, also, I remember that electricity had switched off, and the generator took some time to come on. This was in Churchgate area in one of the halls there. And Guru Maharaj spoke with a very loud voice without the mic. And if you remember, in 1989, he had an attack by one of those madmen in Spain, where his larynx was split. So if you listen to some of the lectures of the old time, his voice was very sound, the bass was very high, and he could speak without mic for a big crowd. So unfortunately, after 89, his voice has become a little low in pitch compared to what it was before. If you hear his old lecture, it was like that. So it was a wonderful time. Guru Maharaj, with great clarity, explained the whole scenario to these people, and they really stood up and clapped, when he finished his speech. It was so much encompassing and merciful. And then he interacted with them later, discussing with them as if, he knew everything from so many previous births. This is the qualification of Guru Maharaj. So he's having deep knowledge. He doesn't show it actually, but it's there, and he immediately picks up very, very fast. It doesn't take much time for him to understand a topic. If you explain even mathematics to him, he knows the jargon very fast, and he can talk it out with anybody in any level, right from a small kid to the most educated PhDs. He's comfortable with everybody. So Guru Maharaj also had, of course, after this interaction, I also had a very wonderful interaction in Chennai. I was actually working in Germany for some time in a deputation, and we were working for a project in Neyveli Lignite. That was actually a power station. You may be knowing in Neyveli there's a big power station, which is 5 or 6 big megawatts, 1,000 megawatts power stations are there, 500, 200. So I had a German boss and was deputed there with him. He was a workaholic. He would have full of nuts in his pockets and some beer, and he would be working for really 14 hours, 15 hours, really making life miserable for us. So 88 Janmashtami was about to come, and I requested him for a holiday, a break, 2-3 days. He said he was very reluctant to give me, but somehow I convinced him, and he said, I'm going to give you 3 days specifically. The 4th day, if you don't come, you will be sacked. So just before Janmashtami, I reached Chennai. That was the temple in those days was in Burkitt Road in Chennai. And my birthday happened to be on 10th of August. And just after that, my mother had given me some very good gifts. A nice shirt, and I had some gifts which I was carrying with me. Guru Maharaj was supposed to be in Coimbatore. He had some initiations there, and he was supposed to come to Chennai. So he reached there, and there was going to be an installation of the deity of Srila Prabhupada, which had come from Italy. If you remember His Grace Ganga Prabhuji, he was a temple president in those days in Chennai. Right now he's in Mayapur, of course. So he was also there, and he had organized for this deity to come. So as I reached Chennai into the Burkitt Road temple complex, there were some devotees I knew before, and I had my bag. I left it at the BBT counter. You know, there's a small counter where they're selling books, and I left it with the devotee to take care. And I got into some sevas, organizing some cuttings and some programs, bundle fixing, etc. And Swami Maharaj was there. He was also guiding us to do something. Not many people used to come in those days, maybe maximum 200, 300 max, on Janmashtami. Other days were very lean. So the Janmashtami went well. And then the Vyasa Puja day, Guru Maharaj was installing the deity. And Srila Prabhupada's deity was about to be installed, but somehow the devotee on the left side who was carrying the deity slipped. And you can imagine, Prabhupada just going to fall down, and it would have been a very catastrophic scene. But Guru Maharaj was at the side, little behind, but he really literally pushed somebody aside, jumped, and with both his hands he grabbed Srila Prabhupada's deity. It was so powerful. He could hold on for some time till everybody came and balanced it back, and then put it on the altar to install the deity. Okay, and the 3rd day, of course, I was supposed to go back to Neyveli night, and it's around 150 kilometers, I think, from Chennai. Normally we would go by a bus. I had booked it also, and the bus service in those days in Chennai was excellent, actually, one of the best, I could say, compared to many other states. I would sometimes go to Bihar or any other places. It would be full of potholes and very difficult to travel. But here it was very good bus service, and my bus was supposed to be at 4:30 or something like that. And I had to reach the bus station. Maybe it would take another 10-15 minutes from the Chennai Burkitt Temple. And it was the T Nagar bus station, I think. Sorry. So as I was about to leave, I saw Swami Maharaj was playing his veena in one of the rooms, and then I paid pranams to some of the devotees there whom I knew, and then I looked for Guru Maharaj, but I didn't find him there where I was supposed to meet him. But I went down to look for my bag. As I looked for my bag, I could not find it. It had disappeared. Somebody must have maybe taken it, or it had been misplaced. So I was looking around because all those items were very dear to me. My mother had given me this gift, and some important things were there. I had some pen, whatever miscellaneous things, but something dear to me. So I was looking very earnestly for this. So as I was looking earnestly, I suddenly went up there used to be a staircase actually in that Burkitt Road temple, where you had 2 rooms at the top side and 1 at the bottom. Swami Maharaj used to be in one of them, and Guru was in the other room. So as I climbed the staircase, Guru Maharaj was coming down, and look, I could see his blue eyes looking at me, and he saw my face very aghast. He asked me, "What happened?" So I said, "I misplaced my bag, and I'm looking for it, and couldn't find it for the last half an hour." So he said, "Everything happens for good." And he said that, and I moved back, But I was feeling very despondent. I said, "Oh my God, Guru Maharaj is not even compassionate to me, and he's saying everything happens for good. But actually, I've lost something very precious. I wish he had told me, okay, you'll get it or something, and said more alluring words." And I went back from there without my bag, went to the bus stop, and as I reached the bus stop, I was in a shock. I saw the bus I was supposed to take just leaving the bus stand. Maybe 2 minutes earlier, I would have got it. I missed it. And I was in great pain. I said, "Now my bag has been lost. And this guy who's my boss, the German guy, is going to give me a big showdown notice tomorrow. It's going to be a hell." I was in great pain and really, feeling very sad. But then one bus came from Kadalur. It is another part, I think. And I had no idea of this bus coming. But somebody in that place told me that bus was there, park. So I said, and then asked the conductor, like, can I get into this bus? Will you drop me to Neyveli, on the way? So he said, okay, you can come, but I don't have a seat. You have to sit next to the driver. There's not, have a small seat next to the driver. So I sat there and I was going. And I was very tired, so I was dozing off. And we crossed Velipuram, I think, that's we like to climb and out. And suddenly, it was evening time now and a little dark also. Suddenly, there was some sound and the driver braked very hard. And everybody got up and people were looking out saying that, oh, there was an accident. So everybody got down. And then when I looked very closely, I saw that it was the same bus I was supposed to board. And the bus had really turned and many people got injured. Then it struck me, my God, if I had caught this bus, I would have also been injured. I mean, I would have surely got some, I don't know, I didn't think people died, but many people got fractured and all. It had totally got upset away because some truck had come, and cornered it down. Then I realized, my God, what Guru Maharaj said is true. That what happens for good. So the bag which I lost was a saving grace actually, and it's really saved me in that time. Okay, now this incident happened, and then I was happy, of course, when I went back now that it happened for good. But this is 1988, and I was back in Middle East. This is 2001. I'm going to take you 13 years ahead. So many times we know that our spiritual master meets us. We talk to him, we pronounce. Rarely Guru Maharaj sometimes will call you by name, and you always have a feeling that bless Guru Maharaj really know me, and that Guru be think of me. I'm a small entity. How will he be ever? How can I please him? All those so many questions the devotees have normally. So this also was in my part of my mind, and that I thought maybe I'm an insignificant person, not known to Guru Maharaj. You would hardly ever think of me. But this also was shattered. I'll tell you how it happened. In 2001, and when I was in Shamadesh, we had the Yatra leader. He was Rasakrida Prabhu. You would have been knowing him, and his Grace Sogar Krishna Prabhu also was also there. So once Guru Maharaj came to Avatari Desh, that is Abu Dhabi, he had a problem on his leg and his back. So there was some massage session organized by the local cortical doctors for him, the specialist there, and he was staying in one of the houses there. And normally Guru Maharaj would leave his set of gamchas, everything in one of our houses, and was traveling in those days was very quietly, he used to travel quite a lot. So he couldn't carry all those things every time. So each yatra would keep something. So that whenever he comes, we had a set ready for him. At least 2 sets would be there. So it was afternoon time. I got a call from my yatra head that can you just take this set to Abu Dhabi? Guru Maharaj answered there. So I went with one of our God bless Shyamari Prabhu. He's no longer in this planet. He passed away in 2005. So we went driving and reached the place. I had the bag with Guru Maharaj's things, etc. And as I reached inside, I was told that Guru Maharaj has gone inside after the massage. He has gone inside and he's having his bath. And once he comes out, then all these clothes will be required. So it was a 3-bedroom flat, and this devotee had the altar inside in the second room. So I kept it in the hall, my bag, and then went inside and did pranam. I sat for some time, and maybe after 3-4 minutes, I got up. I came into the hall to look and get the bag and give it to Guru Maharaj. So when I came inside, this bag was missing. And you can imagine my plight, that Guru Maharaj's bag, which is very important, and I had come all the way from Sharjah with that, driving 150 kilometers to give it to Guru Maharaj. And I was looking around for the bag, and it was not found. And it was really a panic situation for me. And Guru Maharaj was about to come, and then he came out. His gamcha. Of course, the room was without any Mataji, so he was having only his gamcha, but without a stop. And he looked at me, and I was again, in a confused state. I told Guru Maharaj, I gave pranams, and then he got up and said, what happened? I said, I left the bag of yours, with all this clothes here, and it's missing. So when I told him this, he stood for a second, my smile, looked very deeply into my eyes, his blue eyes, and said, oh, you still lose bags. And this is like, a very big shock for me. For 13 years, he still remembered that incident in 1988. Of course, he didn't have to remember that. But, 2001 also, after 13 years, he was so dot on it. And it struck me, all my doubts that, Guru Maharaj doesn't remember and all, it really shut it down. I said, how can he remember such a minute thing? It is unnecessary thing, very insignificant thing. But he said, oh, you still use bags, huh? Like that. And then, of course, we somehow managed to find the bag again because one of the young boys had taken it inside and, he was playing with it there. So he got it back. So this is how, I just want to relish this, how many devotees may have this doubt that, the Guru Maharaj may not remember your small issues or things like that, but he is very compassionate. He gets into it. Sometimes he just listens. He doesn't give a remark to you immediately. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's there in his heart. That's for sure. When he prays, it will surely give benefit to you. And it will step over your problems. You don't have to worry and, think over again and again. Many times I found Guru Maharaj very compassionate. Once I was walking with him in Oman, in one of the beaches there. As we crossed the Corniche, suddenly, 5, 6 of us were together. He had his danda, you remember, that he used to carry, the special danda. So he suddenly put it across like that and stopped us. So we also stopped, not realizing what he wanted us to do. And then he said, look down. And Guru Maharaj pointed to a big colony of ants, just crossing the road. We would have smashed it to pulp if we had stepped a little further. But Guru Maharaj was so focused, compassionate, and he made us stop. And he said, you have to take care of each living entity. This is what he told. He said, you cannot just ignore. And he made sure that we crossed over the ants that were walking on the street. So this is how Guru Maharaj's compassion is running. It's like unimaginable. It isn't. It's not like that he is very big man, GBC and all that. And he doesn't come into. He's very practical. He comes down to your level of the sadhana. Yesterday at the airport when he was leaving, just for in the evening, one small young girl. She had a doubt and she asked Guru Maharaj, how can we serve Guru Maharaj? Guru, actually, she is not taking initiation in shelter from anybody. So Guru Maharaj said, serving Guru is by Vani. Always. I mean, he said, you hear the instruction and follow, that is actually following. Not that necessary that you have to do physical save all the time. It's very difficult to get an approval now in a special condition. It's not easy for you to meet him, but of course, because of new technology, Zoom, etc., we are able to see him every day. Here is Vani. So that's more important to follow. And Guru Maharaj is well known to people, because wherever he goes, he gives some prasadam. This is way back in 97. I remember going to pick up Guru Maharaj in Delhi. And there used to be one godbrother of ours. I forgot his name. He's just struck my mind, but I just left it. He was actually working for the parliament. He was the Rajya Sabha security in charge. And he was also there. And we also went to his house and stayed for a day. So at the airport, he had such connections, everybody was waiting for Mahaprasad from him. He would give small packets or some pedas. Everybody would get it. And he had such a clout that the commissioner would sometimes escort him right till the end. In those days, the security was not so strict. He could go walk in to the airport, at last moment and get a flight. He was so popular with many people, real karmis. They would love when Guru Maharaj used to come from foreign lands. They would always wait for him and make sure that they would get prasadam from him. And it was very, very nice to see that, the determination of the devotees waiting for him, to get mercy. So this was one of those things I remember. And then, of course, we all know. Okay, let me also share one more wonderful thing about my Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj. In 2011, I had gone on an official trip with my family. And I'd gone to Europe. I went to Switzerland, Germany, and all those places. And once, 3-4 days, I took a chance to go to Paris. I went to the temple and it was shifted from the original place. And I met a Sri Lankan Mataji who was initiated by, I think, Swami Maharaj. And she guided me to this new place. It was very difficult to find because Paris, you don't find many English-speaking people in the interiors. So luckily, I went to a pharmacy and I asked them where this temple is there. And they said, and I showed them photographs of the devotees, with shaven heads and monks. So he recognized, he said, okay, you go there, you will get these people there. So when I reached that villa, it was like a big house, big villa. The deities parish were, which was installed by Srila Prabhupada, was I think in 2011 June, I think I had one. So I went inside, and the evening Aarti was on. One of our godbrothers was doing the Aarti, is a Bengali devotee there. And after the Aarti, etc., they had some very light prasadam being served. And as I was sitting for the prasadam, I saw one elderly person coming inside, and everybody bowed to him, and I also bowed to him, not knowing who it was. And then later I went and introduced myself, and then he said, "My name is Ramdas." And he said, and I asked him, "Are you a disciple of His Divine Srila Prabhupada?" And he nodded. No, he was very relaxed. He said, "I'm trying to be," he said. So, and then I sat together with him. So he asked me, "Whose disciple you are?" I said, "It was Jayapataka Swami Maharaj." So when he said that, he put his hand on my shoulder, and then he looked at me. So I was talking to him. So he happened to be the first devotee that Srila Prabhupada met when he landed in Paris. It happened so that Srila Prabhupada's trip was supposed to be in Paris for 4 or 5 days, and he was supposed to be picked up by a certain agency, and the car was supposed to come to pick him up. But in Western countries, sometimes the drivers and all this, they have the late nights, they drink, and Ramdas Prabhuji had a company where this job was supposed to be done. So these drivers did not turn up. But they are very punctual, once you take a commitment, they do it. So he himself went with the car to pick up Srila Prabhupada. And he said that I picked up Srila Prabhupada. I saw some devotee inside, talking very respectful and all. I was wondering who is he, I had no idea. Then as we were driving ahead, he said sometimes this elderly person would give me something to eat, some biscuits or whatever the Guru Maharaj used to, Srila Prabhupada used to have, cookies or something, and he would just share it with him. So he said, I was hungry because I was driving continuously for a long time. Whatever I used to get, I used to munch. So he was continuously having Mahaprasad, And he said, I was hearing all these talks. I had a little bit of idea of English, so I learned something. They were talking about body, not body, something else, soul and all, So I had no clue, but it was getting very clear to me. Somehow I felt very blissful with this personality. And it so happened, he said that after 7 or 8 days of being with Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was leaving, he wanted to go with him, he said. He says, I was so enthralled by Srila Prabhupada that I wanted to go with him. So Srila Prabhupada said, no, you check with your family and then you come to Mayapur. He said, Mayapur, where is this? I never heard. He said, I checked with people, they didn't know what Mayapur was. So he again asked somebody, they said, it is near to Calcutta. So he said, after 2-3 months, my wife gave me permission. He had 3 children also, to travel to India for 2 months. And so he came all the way to Calcutta in 1974, 75 times. And he went to Mayapur, thinking that is a very beautiful place. But he said that when I reached Mayapur, it was having that ramshackle, that first hut, and the building was coming up, lotus building. There was nothing else, and small, small shacks. If you listen to some of the lectures of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, he'll exactly tell you how difficult it was. There's be one small hand pump, the snakes coming in the middle sometimes when into the huts. It was so difficult. Very, very tough days. Very, very tough days. So he said one day, Srila Prabhupada came there and he gave him a seva. He said that my seva was to remove the mosquitoes from his body. He had a chamra. That was his job. It was full of mosquitoes. He said that paddy fields was insects and mosquito ridden. And Srila Prabhupada had to be kept comfortable. So his job was to always keep the chamra on continuously. One day in the evening, he said it was rainy time and 8:30 or something, everybody was asleep. Normally the lights would be off, the lamps, etc. what they had. It was not electric lamp, but normal chimney lamps. And Petromax, if you remember the olden days, there used to be a thing called Petromax. They would pump it, and you would get a very bright light. And Srila Prabhupada suddenly told him, go and call Jayapataka. So Guru Maharaj was sleeping in a hut very near to where Srila Prabhupada was staying, and maybe around 100 meters away. So he went looking for Guru Maharaj, and as he entered Guru Maharaj's hut, Guru Maharaj was very tired and he was about to sleep down. But when he told him that Srila Prabhupada has called you, he immediately jumped and put on his gamcha and said, let's go. And he went very fast ahead. So Ramdas Prabhu said, I was following him, but suddenly because of, in In the olden days, if you have gone to the fields in India, you have a bund, between the fields. So if you miss it out, you will fall into the slush. So he said, I was walking on the bund and suddenly I slipped and my leg went deep inside the slush and I could not come take it out. So then I called out your Guru Maharaj, and he looked at me and he said that, oh, and he nodded his head. He came back and he said he lifted me and put me on his shoulder and came right till where Prabhupada was there and just dumped me there. And he was so enthusiastic to serve Guru Maharaj. I mean, he's Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. He said that is how I had the Guru Maharaj Association. He said I stayed in Mayapur for 6-8 months. And in those days, it was very, very tough. He said in the morning, my body would be pure white. And by evening, in the early morning, when I got up, it would be full of red spots because the mosquitoes would love my blood, he said. I was the foreign body, so they would always come for me. And same with most of the Westerners there in those days. They are very tough times, very, very tough times. You can not imagine, he said. And now when you will go there, you have these wonderful air-conditioned rooms and so many facilities and traveling facilities, staying, prasadam. He said in those days it was very, very tough. Prasadam was a luxury, to cook and get it. Well, these are the tough lifestyles that our Guru Maharaj has gone through. You can imagine staying in Mayapur in those days. He used to go during the construction time. He would take a cycle, go to Krishnanagar, bring back. Sometimes there would be shortage of cement. He would sometimes carry it on his shoulder and bring it on a cycle. It's so tough. I mean, unimaginable circumstances he has gone through. Planting trees, doing gardening, selling those vegetables, training those people there, learning Bengali, teaching so many things. I mean, it is like, if you think of yourself at that particular time, then you will realize how much of input, how much of effort he has put in actually to develop Mayapur. Of course, he had a good team and many other godfathers also supported, but he was a very prime force actually. He was the main person Srila Prabhupada relied on to have Mayapur going to the heights where we see it now. When we see now, still we complain, oh, I didn't get my bed, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, I didn't get water. So many complaints we have about Mayapur. But if you think back, those 30 years back and 35 years back, it was so tough, so tough. And Srila Prabhupada's mercy prevailed through these instructions. So this is how Guru Maharaj actually has spent his time in developing Iskcon and making it the pillar of the whole Iskcon movement. Unfortunately, in 2008, of course, in 1989, as I told you, there was an accident, an attack on him. Maybe some other time I'll speak about it. It's a little longer one. So 2008, of course, we all know on 23rd October, he had his stroke. On 15th October, he was here in Shamadesh. The last time we visited and we saw him in the prime body that he normally had. We had a wonderful program. I still remember Krishna Prabhu was there at the time, and we had a wonderful kirtan and nice prasadam with him and all. And it was just a week later, 23rd, the GBC meeting was on in Mumbai. And it happened to me, it happened that my mother actually had gone that time with some of her, she's also a god sister, and Rohini Radhika Mataji. So she went to cook for Guru Maharaj with some other devotees. So a day before, she had told me that Guru Maharaj looked a little tired and all, so she was not able to get darshan. So I said, you wait for one more day and we'll go back to our house. So she was telling me, okay, I'll do that. And then I connected her to Pundarik Govinda Prabhu. Pundarik Govinda, you may be knowing, he is one of the old timers there, one of our godbrothers. So he was speaking to me on the phone from my mother's phone, and I told him that he's going to help. He said, okay, don't worry. Suddenly in the morning of 23rd, at around 4:30, 4:40 here, UAE time, and must have been 6 or something there. Govinda Prabhu's phone comes, and he says, Guru Maharaj has got a severe attack. I was shocked to hear this, and because I had just spoken the day before, he thought of informing me, and he had the number also. And I was shocked. I said, what happened? He said that we have rushed him to Hinduja and we're all waiting here. We don't know anything else, but it was very difficult to bring him down. So recently when I met his Grace Brother Hari Prabhuji, if any of you all can get in touch with him, he will give you a wonderful narration. I have been also requesting him to speak for us. 45 minutes, 50 minutes, he said it'll take. How Guru Maharaj was taken from the room to the ambulance to Hinduja on the day the stroke took place. It was very, very tough because they tried to bring him to the lift. They could not get him like that. He was already in a very incoherent state, muttering and in great pain. So they had to use some bed sheets, and put Guru Maharaj like that, and 5-6 of them brought him down on the staircase. It was very tough. But somehow when they reached Hinduja hospital, there were no beds. ICU was full. So they had to take the help of Sinaji. He is no longer on this planet, but Sinaji had organized for getting the doctor there immediately. And it is said that Dr. Ashok, who was one of the top neurosurgeons at those times, he's still there. He's the head of HOD. He's a very little bit of a very blunt person, So when the devotees after Guru Maharaj admitted asked him like what is going to happen and how things are going to be, what do you say? So he was very blunt. He said the chances of Guru Maharaj surviving is just not even 1, maximum 2%. He said, and even if he survives, he's saying he's going to be a vegetable. You cannot see him speak. He'll be just like lying down. That was the thing that he told. And all devotees were extremely pained. We were all praying. But miracles happen, of course. And Guru Maharaj fought back. Swami Maharaj and so many other senior disciples used to go there. Srila Prabhupada's disciples to go every day, read Chaitanya Charitamrita to him, and he would respond little by little. And within a month's time, Guru Maharaj was able to speak a little bit. It was so much of a drastic change. There was so much inner determination in him to come back. And he was discharged later, and further treatment was done in Bhaktivedanta Hospital. So the day he was going out, I mean, there is a recording where he spoke to Radhabhava Swami Maharaj and Brajaripuji. So that recording, I have it somewhere in my savings. The first time, very, very weak, but he spoke a little bit, with very good clarity of understanding. And Radhabhava Swami Maharaj is asking him, like, do you know who I am, like that. And Guru Maharaj is very clear that, yes, he is able to remember everything. His memory was very sharp that time, even after the stroke. So as he was coming out of the place, Dr. Ashok came down and to meet him. And then he said, I have seen so many cases in my last 30 years, 25 years, and not a single case has survived like this. He said, and I really don't know how this happened, but I know it's a miracle. So he admitted, Dr. Ashok, that Guru Maharaj going from there and surviving was a miracle. And we have seen Guru Maharaj fight back, his body condition being so weak, but literally every day he's giving lectures. He's been traveling so much around the world in this condition, never stopping at any moment and thinking about his own body. Even though we know that he had replacement of his organs, he's a fighter. 2 COVID attacks, who will survive in those situations? Like, unimaginable. Who will think of going anywhere in this condition? But he never bothers about his own body. He keeps on. Like right now, on this 20th, there was supposed to be an initiation ceremony here, and in the morning, everybody assembled. Guru Maharaj was extremely weak because he had gone to the expo, and he came back and he said, I'll get up in 10 minutes. He couldn't get 20 minutes. He couldn't get up. He continued like that, and the program was cancelled. So many devotees, 2,000, 3,000 devotees went home very sad. They couldn't have darshan of Guru Maharaj. But in the evening, by around 4 o'clock, he was a little better, and he said, call all of them to the place where you are staying in the house of Sri Vallabh Prabhuji. So he was so compassionate, like, everybody came who were the candidates and they got initiated. And though he was so weak, he gave them mercy. So this is how compassionate he is, like, always thinking of how to give the benefit of Srila Prabhupada's movement to all the living entities without caste, creed, barrier. So many different people, like nurses who have been in touch with him in different hospitals, or doctors. I've met so many of them, they all love to meet Guru Maharaj again and again, because, he has really entered the life. And he also makes sure that you get connected to Krishna again and again, even if you misplace yourself and you go away also. He is very compassionate. One of his godbrothers, who was in Mayapur for many years, and his son is still there, I think, he had slightly got, disappointed with some internal politics, and he stopped attending programs. And Guru Maharaj was very loving towards him. So in one of the lectures when he came here, he told us that one day suddenly in 2008 or 9, before this incident, 2006 or something, Guru Maharaj was in Atlanta and he was in US. He said, one day suddenly in the morning, I heard a knock in my house, and I opened the door, and there he was standing. Guru Maharaj was, Jayapataka Maharaj was standing right in front, staring at me, and he said, looking at me, I was shocked. And then he said, won't you allow me to come in? And then he came inside and we sat together, and, he was generally speaking, and, very much, he never talked about those issues of mine, but slowly, like, he connected me back to Srila Prabhupada, and then made sure that I would come with him, have prasadam. And then he said, all my barriers broke and I came back into fold. So that's how Guru Maharaj is so compassionate. He doesn't allow anybody to get away or, go into any situation where you feel that he's not taken care of. So this is how we should also encourage others, to come up in Krishna consciousness and make sure that, we have a very, very wonderful family of God brothers and God sisters caring each other. Though we have not met many times in our lifetimes, but, there are so many instances where we can help each other. Some people are traveling to those places. If you know that area, somebody's there, connect them to those people and, make sure that they get the best benefit of some yatras or stay or some prasadam facility. And we have found that, sometimes in some days we go for some tours in South. I remember different places, some of our God brothers, right at the midnight also they'll bring prasadam and give them. And there's so much because they all care for Guru Maharaj, that imbibement is there. So this is how we should actually encourage others to also do and, bring it out. Guru Maharaj is sometimes very humorous also. In 2018, when he came in September, we had a very huge program in Sharjah. There were no halls available. Actually, it was in Ajman, next Emirate. There were no halls available in Dubai and Sharjah, which would take the whole of UAE Yatra, nearly 3,000-4,000 devotees. And there's a huge backlog of initiation, nearly 250. So we had to have a football stadium like a place, but nobody thought that when the whole crowd comes, it will be very hot. And it had become very, very hot. And Guru Maharaj was sweating a lot. And, it was very difficult to actually keep the crowd pacified. So one of the devotees was very much enthusiastic. He went to Guru Maharaj and said, Guru Maharaj, let me have a selfie. Please, please. So Guru Maharaj looked at him and said, selfie? What are you talking? You should get a kulfi. He was like, he was very cool and humorous in that situation also. And we are all laughing, that he would, even in that situation, think of that sort of a humorous way of getting things out. Though we were feeling guilty that, we are putting Guru Maharaj into so much of pain. So these are some of the realizations I had just shared with you all. Those said it is 1 hour. I think the time is over and 10 minutes you wanted to keep. See, I also have another Zoom link after 15 minutes. So I would request if anybody has anything to share, I would like to hear or can.
Prabhu, by the devotees, if you all have any question, please unmute and you can ask. Prabhu, we don't get such wonderful association always, so please feel free. Prabhu, till someone opens up, can I ask one to share one pastime of this visit, this time, something?
Sure. So, Guru Maharaj has actually not been in a very good situation health-wise. If you remember, he had just been in Chennai for a very long treatment because his stomach had developed an ulcer, and it was bloated, a lot of pain. But he convinced the doctors that, he would be fine. And the doctors were like 50-50, but one person from Guru Maharaj, and, it tilted. So they gave him permission to travel. The last moment, it was decided that he would come here. His goal actually was very clear. He wanted to, of course, expand the TOP. The TOP is one of the main projects that, as a dream project of his for pleasing Srila Prabhupada. He wanted to see the expo to understand, what more we can pick up from there to make TOP more better for the future of Iskcon. That was his goal. He also wanted to meet some of the donors who could help. And we have a new temple coming up here in Abu Dhabi, which is run by the different group, not Iskcon, but it's a, I forgot the Gujarati community. They have a temple project here called the BAPS. And he wanted to also understand about them, meet them also. So this was his goal. So when he came here to the expo, the first day itself, when he landed at the airport and we went to receive him, normally because he's in the first class, he would come out very soon, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But after 2 hours also, Guru Maharaj was not coming out. And unfortunately, we were not able to communicate to the devotee who had gone to pick him up inside. He actually works in that airport and he handles all the wheelchair facility, etc. And he is one of our god brothers also. So his mobile he was trying and he didn't pick up, and we were a little worried. So Later we came to know when he came out that Guru Maharaj had 3 bouts of loose motions inside the airport. So we had to wait, going inside and taking him out takes quite a bit of effort. It's not easy, when Guru Maharaj wants to go to the washroom. So that took a long time. So when he came out, he was very weak. Of course, he talked to us and all, and then we decided 3 days total rest. So we didn't have anybody meeting Guru Maharaj for 2 days, and the 3rd day only, Guru Maharaj said, I want to go. So he went to Expo and was so energetic, his observation powers are very powerful. He was telling Mahavara, okay, note this. He was telling, take this photograph, take this. I want to implement it. There's in Saudi pavilion, when you go up onto the escalator, they have at different levels all the history of Saudi Arabia, KSA, and right till the modern age. It is wonderfully placed. It's very easy. So he said, this is very good for our TOP. Then there's another thing he noted in Pakistan consulate, actually. In Pakistan, when you go there, though we hear a lot of negative things about it, but it was surprising that at one place, where they start with Mohenjo-daro and go right till the end, where they show a lot of past. And there is a section where they have paintings of Radha Krishna on the side wall, very faint, but they have shown that, So Guru Maharaj was very surprised. And then he said, okay, let's also have this type of paintings shown, and different decorum. And this was some of these inputs that he was giving. And whenever I used to meet any other seniors there, very, so, it was not easy for him to speak loudly, but it would be translated. But this point, what you would ask or, wanted to know was very precise, So this was one of these happenings that I noticed here. They were very focused and very much determined that, the best of things that are happening in the expo should be translated into TOP. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I think you took us from there to here now. So, anyone has any questions, devotees?
So, mostly are these congregation members all from your congregation, or you have some other devotees also?
Most of them, I think some of them, I see some from other congregation also maybe, some I do not know. So they may be from other congregation. So they join us. I think it's simultaneously Guru Maharaj just reached JFK. Someone was just relaying that.
Right. You would have reached.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Anand Vihari Prabhu, did you have any question? Or
no, thank you, Prabhuji. So please accept my sincere, honest observations on your lotus speech, Prabhuji. And very good. We unified devotees feel very energetic when we listen all these so much pastimes of Guru Maharaj, and especially the last one, because I was thinking to request you to share one of the pastime of Guru Maharaj in the near visit, but Anadi Prabhu took that service and on behalf of all of us, and you have already explained. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot for sharing.
Where are you from, Anand Vihari Prabhu?
Prabhuji, it's a very tough question for me. I'm born in Bihar, Prabhuji, and for my education I've stayed in MP, then from engineering from Pune, symbiosis management. And right now, presently, I'm speaking from Uttarakhand, Prabhuji. I'm posted here at Uttarakhand. I'm working with one of the automotive industry. Prabhuji.
Very nice. Yeah. Which is the nearest temple there for you?
So I'm at Rudrapur, and we have a Rudrapur temple here. Temple is not yet built, but yes.
Very good. Happy to hear. Hare Krishna.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Kanai Prabhu.
Kanai Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. He is my old Sati from
also. It's of Ghaziabad temple.
Nice to see you after a long time, Prabhu.
Yeah, how are you keeping, Kanai?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Pranam. I heard you are in Mayapur.
Yeah, Prabhu. I am in Mayapur.
Very nice.
See you sometime.
Yes. I think last time also I met you in Mayapur only. But anyway, we'll surely make it a point to come and meet you.
Yeah, Prabhu. Sure. Hare Krishna.
We had very good time with Prabhuji. He's here in Bangladesh. He's basically into mechanical engineering, So in his workshop, he would be very much tied up. But on the day of a Friday, Prabhu would somehow sneak out, And he was very particular in giving Bhagavad Gita to many devotees. The BBT, he used to handle a lot of BBT things. And we had a way of finding out who was a Hindu. So in the supermarkets, Prabhu would go spot some Matajis wearing tilak or what is that spot bindi, and then he would keep a note whether they are coming the next week, and then we would start a trail and see where they are staying, and then go and give a Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, Jai, we didn't know that.
He is a very ruthless BBT distributor.
No, Prabhu. Thanks, Prabhu. Nice remembrance and wonderful points about Guru Maharaj, and it's increasing our love for Guru Maharaj. And thank you very much for that, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
You're most welcome. And
Thank you, Prabhu. I think the devotees are typing in that they're thanking you for the nectar, and thank you for sharing so many transcendental pastimes with Guru Maharaj. I didn't see any questions, but so kind of you. I know you have a program in the next 5-6 minutes, maybe. So for taking out time. So on behalf of Jayapataka, Seshadripuram, we thank you so much, Prabhu. And I hope we take the word that we'll hear the Spanish pastime one other day.
Very.
So I take that that opportunity. So I'll reach out to you again whenever your time permits, and we'll hear that, because you said it will be a long one. We heard one time from Simeshwar Prabhu, one aspect of it, but I think it'll be good to hear from you as well. You are
actually, he was the main person who was there that time. I was in Germany at the time, and I had gone there to the temple. To the hospital. Of course, I met, but he is the best person. So if we heard from him, then
one aspect, Prabhu. All of you give us wonderful. We just sit on our seats when such pastimes comes up. So we'll wait to hear that from you. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Let us all Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, devotees, for joining in. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Patitanam Pavane.
For the wonderful. Thank you for enlightening us about Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you.
Hare. Thank you, Prabhu. With your permission, I will leave now.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare.
So, Hare Krishna, devotees. Thank you for joining in again, and hope to see you all again next week, same time. We shall hear the glorification of our dear Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj just reached JFK. Actually, one of the devotees just, if you'll wait for a minute, let me check if he can come on this Zoom. He was actually on, just give me a minute. He's out there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.